Kevin Durant's trade to the Houston Rockets was supposed to be the blockbuster move that launched them into contention. But according to reports detailed in this analysis, what seemed like a straightforward superstar addition has turned into a contract standoff that's raising eyebrows across the league. The most intriguing part? The Rockets aren't rushing to lock him in, and if things don't resolve soon, this could blow up in ways we've seen before with KD. Stick around, because the details paint a picture of a team playing hardball like never before. Let's break this down step by step. First, the trade itself. Houston gave up assets. Not a ton compared to Durant's past deals, but enough that losing him after one season would sting. As outlined in the analysis, everyone assumed an extension was next, especially since Durant is eligible for a 2-year, $122 million max deal that would keep him out of 2026 free agency. But here's where it escalates. Reports indicate the Rockets simply aren't offering that max contract. The two sides are decently far apart in talks. Add to that Durant's age. He's pushing into his late 30s, with injury issues and a hit to his reputation from the Suns era, and suddenly Houston's hesitation starts making sense. Then there's the Rockets' young core: Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr., and rising star Amen Thompson. The analysis points out how the team has already inked Green and Sengun to big but below max extensions last offseason, and Smith Jr. followed suit this year with a sizable yet discounted deal. This pattern shows Houston isn't just handing out money, they're negotiating aggressively. And it doesn't stop with the kids. The analysis highlights how the Rockets declined Fred VanVleet's team option this offseason, only to re-sign him cheaper, betting on the dry free agency market. All these moves build tension. If they're doing this with their homegrown talent, why would KD be different? At first glance, the Houston Rockets' hesitation to offer Kevin Durant a max contract extension might seem like standard NBA business adapting to a shifting league landscape. The analysis explains that for years, player empowerment dominated, with max deals handed out freely. Michael Porter Jr., for instance, secured a massive rookie extension with little negotiation, as was common in a player-driven market. However, the NBA has changed, with less free agency money available in recent seasons, giving teams more leverage. The analysis suggests the Rockets are simply capitalizing on this new reality, where teams can negotiate harder without fear of losing stars to bloated offers elsewhere. This creates a false sense of resolution. The situation could resolve quickly. Reports in the analysis indicate Durant might not even be demanding the full $122 million, 2-year max extension he's eligible for. A shorter deal or one with security could align both sides, especially since the Rockets traded for him, valuing his championship experience to elevate their young core: Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr., and Amen Thompson, into conference finals contenders. A quick compromise seems plausible, given Houston's clear intent to compete now. But the analysis reveals a deeper contradiction. Houston's front office operates differently, leading the league in extracting value from contracts. They've consistently secured below-max extensions, as seen with Green and Sengun last offseason. Both signed to significant but discounted deals, and Smith Jr. this offseason, whose extension is noted as potentially great value if he develops further. The analysis also highlights their approach with Fred VanVleet, declining his team option to re-sign him cheaper, leveraging the barren free agency market. Unlike most teams, Houston avoids player options, favoring team control to maximize cap flexibility under new NBA rules that punish overspending. This isn't mere frugality, it's a calculated strategy. The analysis underscores that the Rockets are exploiting Durant's vulnerabilities: his age, late 30s, injury history, and a tarnished reputation from his son's tenure, to drive a hard bargain. They're not granting favors just because they traded for him. Instead, they're betting Durant's market in 2026 free agency won't outshine their offer, prioritizing long-term roster flexibility over appeasing a superstar. This aggressive approach risks tension but could redefine team building in the modern NBA. Now, the real eye-opener from this analysis. The Rockets' entire philosophy is built on exploiting the league's leverage shift away from player empowerment. For years, as the analysis details, teams handed out max contracts with minimal resistance, but recent seasons have seen a drier free agency market, with less money circulating overall. This has empowered front offices to negotiate tougher. For context, restricted free agents this offseason remain unsigned because there's simply no substantial money out there to compete with, per the reports in the analysis. Houston smartly capitalized last year by securing Jalen Green on a shorter deal designed to let him hit free agency sooner, yet still below the full max, and Alperen Sengun on a more traditional extension, but again at a discounted rate compared to the max rookie scale. The revelation deepens with their handling of Fred VanVleet. The Rockets declined his team option this offseason, only to re-sign him to a much cheaper deal, a move that carried little risk because the free agency landscape is so barren, as emphasized in the analysis. They weren't concerned about losing him elsewhere due to the lack of spending power league-wide. Now, apply this mindset directly to Durant. The analysis notes how his stint with the Suns damaged his reputation around the league, compounded by his advancing age into the late 30s and persistent injury issues. These factors make 2026 free agency a gamble for him, where better offers might not materialize. The Rockets recognize this as potentially his last real opportunity for a big contract, so they're pushing aggressively for the best possible value, even if it means withholding the full $122 million, 2-year max extension. Broader picture, the team's payroll is ballooning rapidly, with Sengun's and Jabari Smith Jr.'s new deals already in place, plus a looming potential max rookie extension for future star Amen Thompson, alongside mid-size contracts for Smith and VanVleet. The analysis stresses how juggling these commitments with a Durant extension could spiral out of control under the NBA's new rules, which are designed to limit flexibility for teams spending heavily against the cap. By saving on KD's deal, Houston maintains the agility to make complementary moves, like their recent offseason additions of Dorian Finney-Smith and Clint Capella in free agency, exemplifying the kind of sustainable building needed in the modern NBA to add pieces around an established core without financial handcuffs. But the most revealing part? This approach isn't entirely unique to Houston. Other teams, like the Oklahoma City Thunder, are also ditching player options in favor of team options or straight years to retain control. Yet, per the analysis, the Rockets stand out as the most aggressive franchise in this regard, turning contract negotiations into a precise science aimed at maximizing cap savings and building a true contender without breaking the bank. This strategy could set a new standard, but it hinges on execution. Moving forward, the Houston Rockets face a high-stakes balancing act with Kevin Durant, as outlined in the provided analysis. The consequences of their contract strategy could shape their immediate playoff aspirations and long-term roster-building plans. If the Rockets lowball Durant too aggressively, they risk alienating a superstar whose history suggests he could become a significant distraction. The analysis explicitly references Durant's past. His final season with the Golden State Warriors was marked by weird vibes, followed by a mid-season trade request in Brooklyn. And while the Phoenix Suns situation wasn't entirely his fault, it still marks 3 consecutive stops with drama. This pattern raises red flags for a Rockets team banking on a cohesive locker room to maximize their young core's potential. The stakes are monumental for Houston, as the analysis emphasizes their legitimate shot at the conference finals, or even further, this season. Durant's championship pedigree could elevate players like Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr., and Amen Thompson, but an unhappy KD entangled in contract disputes could destabilize the team. The analysis notes that success hinges on several assumptions. Durant integrating seamlessly with the young core, staying healthy despite his injury history, the young players taking developmental leaps, and Durant being content in Houston. If any of these falter, the situation could unravel. The analysis warns that without a deal before the season, tensions could escalate, leading to what it calls a very weird scenario. Potentially a distracted Durant, locker room friction, or even a trade demand, echoing his Brooklyn exit. Conversely, securing Durant on a value extension below the $122 million max, as discussed in the analysis, would preserve financial flexibility under the NBA's restrictive new rules. This could allow Houston to manage their rising payroll, with Sengun and Smith's recent deals and a potential max extension for Thompson looming. Saving on Durant's contract could enable moves like their recent additions of Dorian Finney-Smith and Clint Capella, positioning the Rockets as a sustainable powerhouse capable of adding another star. The analysis underscores that every dollar saved is critical, as new league rules limit flexibility for high-spending teams. Thus, the outcome of these negotiations could determine whether Houston contends now or faces a costly rebuild later, making this a defining moment for their franchise trajectory. But so many questions linger from this analysis. Will Durant blink first and take less for security, or test 2026 free agency despite the risks? How far apart are they really? Reports say decently, But could trade talks heat up if the season starts rocky? Keep an eye on training camp reports and any extension news. That's where the next chapter drops. What do you think? Should the Rockets max KD or keep playing hardball? Drop your takes in the comments. Smash that like if you're hyped for the season, and subscribe for more NBA deep dives. Peace out.